I'm just going to come right out and say it. This is the best Mortal Kombat to date, which, in my opinion, makes it the best fighting game. Excluding a game that rhymes with Bash Rose from a company called Vinbendo. But that's on the other side of the spectrum. Anyway, welcome to Chatmandu, I'm Jake, and this is my Mortal Kombat X review. I'm actually going to break this review up into 3 parts, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because it sounds cool. I'm not actually sure what the difference between bad and ugly is with a review, but we'll work that out when it comes to it. Anyway, to start, the good. Mortal Kombat X looks great in the graphics department, and is a definite step up from MK9, making it one of, if not the, best looking fighting game out there. The particle effects have been vastly improved, and are especially noticeable with fire-powered characters like Scorpion, with sparks fizzling off his fiery balls. And yes, fizzling is a word. The animations are extremely well done, and the characters' movements are so lifelike, you can almost feel the impact of each punch, complemented by the excellent sound effects. The X-ray moves introduced in MK9 and fatalities are what really make Mortal Kombat stand out from all the other fighting games, and are the reason it's one of my favourites. So I was dying to see what NetherRealm had delivered us with MKX. And they certainly did not disappoint. Each character has 2 brand new fatalities, brutalities, quitalities, and 1 X-ray move. And then there's the faction fatalities as well, all of which are original and more twisted than ever. I was playing as Goro yesterday, the big ugly guy with 4 arms, and his peekaboo fatality involved him pushing someone's head downwards through their neck into their torso, and then he continues to tear the front of their upper body right off to reveal their decapitated head inside of them. I mean, who even comes up with this stuff? They've got a great imagination. Terrible, but great. When you first boot up Mortal Kombat, you will be greeted with the first new feature, Faction Wars. A continuous online cross-platform competition that resets each week. You will choose from 5 different factions: Black Dragon, the Brotherhood of Shadow, the Lin Kuei, Special Forces, and the White Lotus. And from then on, every time you play, you will be generating points for your team. I chose Black Dragon. Go Black Dragon! Features like this are what are important in fighting games. The more rewards at stake, the less repetitive it feels, and gives more meaning to each time you play. NetherRealm have really focused on giving the game as many variations as possible, giving us a pretty impressive roster of 24 characters, and that's excluding the 4 DLC characters we've been promised. You'll have to have played like 300 matches to have made them all fight each other, and then you have the new fighting variation features where each character has 3 fighting styles to choose from, with unique combos and abilities, which do have quite a large effect on how you use them. Now, I'm no mathematician, but that equals a lot of unique gameplay. Characters include many fan favourites like Scorpion, Sub-Zero and Liu Kang, but an impressive third of the roster are entirely new characters, including Sonya Blade and Johnny Cage's daughter, Cassie Cage, who, I have to admit, I'm already quite fond of. Takeda, a modern day ninja with tech suit and whips, and Kotal Khan, an Aztec god Emperor guy. He's alright. The characters' intros have also been changed and improved. Now characters make comments specific to the other fighter who responds appropriately back. It's not huge, but I think it's a nice detail. The final new feature is the Living Towers mode. Very similar to the classic Towers mode, where players can work their way up a tower by beating different characters, except in Living Towers you have to play as a set character that is refreshed every hour, day and week, keeping gameplay fresh and adding that much needed sense of replayability. The legendary Ed Boon, the game's creator, has also announced that if a DLC character is picked, then people who don't even own that DLC can play as them, which means we can play as Predator and Jason Voorhees, just to try them out before we even fork out that extra money for them. Upon its release, MKX provides you with a selection of 13 impressively detailed arenas. It's clear the development team took a lot of time over the backdrops. They're so well done, I'm sometimes distracted from the fighting itself, with the huge sea storms, towers crumbling to the ground, and packs of wolves charging through the forest. Each arena now has unique level interaction, like in Injustice, where you can use the environment to your advantage, whether it's jumping off a tiger's back, using materials as weapons, or even throwing an elderly lady at your opponent. I really do like this feature because it adds a whole new dimension to the arenas, making them different in more ways than just looks. It's also handy when you're pinned in the corner. Most levels allow you to jump off the wall and bring the fight back into the arena. Level interaction is easily implemented by the press of R1, or RB on the Xbox One and something on the PC, but I'm hearing that's not a very good version at the moment, so stay away from that. Now, I guess I'm going to have to talk about the story mode. It's set after the previous game. You play a few fights and then it jumps 20 years into the future and you play as the characters when they're older, which is pretty cool. Anyway, it turns out there's some new baddie that was telling the old baddie what to do or something. Let's face it, we don't buy fighting games for the story mode, but I guess they feel like they've got to put it in. And usually it's pretty lame. But as far as fighting games go, Mortal Kombat X has done alright. It's massively cheesy and ridiculous with terrible cliches and one-liners, but they haven't half-hearted it. I mean, they've designed entire cities, monsters, soldiers, just for one cutscene, and I do like the way the game seamlessly transitions from cutscene into the fighting. There's not really much to say about the story mode. It's okay. I wouldn't have cared if they left it out entirely, and maybe worked on other features like tag team, which leads me unfortunately to the bad. Where the hell is tag team? Tag team challenge tale was my favourite thing to do on the previous Mortal Kombat. I understand Ed Boon said not many people played tag team, but I call bullshit. I don't know one person who didn't love tag team. Tag team was a way of playing Mortal Kombat cooperatively, without having to pass the controller back and forth, which is something I've had to do. It added a whole new dimension to the game where you could have a potential 4 fighters in one match. It just made the game that much more exciting. And I loved the tag combos. They added an element of teamwork to the game. Alas, NetherRealm have focused their assets elsewhere for some crazy reason. And I just hope that they bring tag team back in a patch or DLC. Talking of DLC, if you want to buy everything available on day one, so that's including a season pass that will give you 4 new characters and some skins, a Sub-Zero skin and all of the crypt content, which can be unlocked in the game anyway, it will set you back about the same price of the game itself. You can also buy coins and easy fatality points, which can be used to trigger fatalities without the difficult combos. This is actually a step in the wrong direction for Mortal Kombat, but with this game, the good outweighs the bad, so I'm gonna let this one slide. And finally, the ugly. Unfortunately, my darn camera gave up on me, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. I'm gonna give Mortal Kombat an 8 out of 10, and had they included tag team, it would probably be a 9. Thank you so much for watching my Mortal Kombat X review. Please like and comment below, and if you want to see more from me, then subscribe! The next big release is The Witcher 3. I cannot wait for that game. But it's in May, so we've got about a month to wait, and in the meantime I'll be working on top 10 videos, so most anticipated of 2015 type thing, along those lines type thing. Until then though, happy gaming.